Roger Maltbie was part of the call on Golf Channel and Peacock out at Cypress Point. Joins us now. You've played around 100 times there, from what I understand. A lot of viewers, though, hadn't seen it maybe ever, maybe in decades. What was it like to be on the ground with this special amateur event this past weekend?
Well, I can tell you this. It was spectacular. And every time I've been on the grounds of Cypress Point, it's a privilege. It really is. I just feel blessed when I'm there. It was beautifully conducted. I can say this as a far cry from your previous conversation about the Ryder Cup. Never once did I hear chants of USA, USA. Not once. It was, the galleries were well mannered. The weather was delightful. The course is perfect as it usually is. It was just a great week. One I'll never forget, really. Honestly, I will never forget this week. It was tremendous.
Roger, north of 100 rounds at Cyprus, your reputation as a man of the people just took an enormous torpedo right there. I suppose you're going to tell us you've actually aced either 15 or 16 or both?
Okay, I have. I fess, okay? Playing a practice round for the AT&T with my amateur partner, who was Eddie DeBartolo, that owned the 49ers. And we were waiting for the group ahead, standing on the back of the tee, and you can look up the coastline to Fish Bay, and in front of you, the rocks where the sea lions and sea otters are playing, and in the distance to our left was, you could see the 16th green, and I said, this is my favorite spot in the world of golf, this particular spot. And when the green cleared, I got up and made it. Go figure. Of course, I would do it in a practice round, right?
Well, that's a bar bill I think everyone would be happy to pay after that ace. I'm curious how much you think the venue matters in events like this, Roger, because the Walker Cup has really become the benchmark of great venues. The last couple we've seen is the Old Course and at Seminole, and you look down the road, you've got Lahinch and Bandon and Chicago Golf and Pine Valley. Do you think it really matters both to the fans and the players what the actual stage is that the performance is on?
Well, I certainly do, and certainly in the case of Cypress Point, the first day they allowed spectators was Friday for a practice round, and I got to the golf course very early, about 7:30 in the morning, and the golf had not yet started. There were no golfers on the golf course, and there were people roaming the fairways, many people roaming the fairways, just taking pictures, just being on the grounds. I thought that was really impressive. And I confess that I don't follow the amateur game that closely, nor do I follow collegiate golf that closely. But when I started doing a little pre-Walker Cup research, I started seeing the courses that are in the pipeline that you just mentioned that they will go to. And, you know, the USGA, with the rota of golf courses now they have for the U.S. Open, the Women's U.S. Open, they've greatly improved the venues they'll go to there. And with what's in store for the Walker Cup, I just think they're doing an outstanding job. And when I told every USGA guy I know that I saw there, I said, this is the coolest thing the USGA has ever done, period, in my opinion. I mean, it was just that good a weekend.
Roger, to hear you describe the weekend that was, to talk about the decorum, the golf course, the play, the fans, I detected some nostalgia, maybe some wistfulness in your description. Is there something you'd like to see the greater professional game or aspects of golf borrow from what happened this past weekend? Is it possible to take what happened at Cypress Point and transfer it to other parts and portions of the game that we all love?
Well, I don't know if the latter part of that is possible. You know, it's hard getting the toothpaste back in the tube once it's out. Decorum around golf tournaments has changed. I'm not golf's conscience. I'm not someone who would say that is for the better or for the worse, but it is different. I think the Walker Cup, as I witnessed it this past weekend, is really what the Ryder Cup was intended to be in its inception. And of course, it's become very, very big and very vocal. And either side of the pond, it's changed complexion. There's no question about that. And I wish some of that would tone down. I wish there'd be a little bit more respect for the visiting team than is showed on either side. It gets a little carried away at times, and I think to the detriment of the event.
This was the fifth straight U.S. victory in the Walker Cup, Roger. It's starting to feel like the way the Ryder Cup did before Europe was introduced as part of that lineup in 1979. Is there a case to be made that the GB&I team ought to be broadened out to include Europe?
I think the case could be made. I don't know that it would fall on welcome ears by either GB&I or the U.S. They're a little slow to change. This is tradition. This is what it was intended to be. This is what it was founded to be. So I don't know that they would do that. I'd be kind of surprised if they did. As far as making a better competition, maybe so. And that's not to make light of the GB&I players. They're wonderful young men and players. And I saw a lot of terrific golf. But this last weekend went very much to form. What the pre-tournament thoughts were, that GB&I would be competitive and strong in foursomes, and when it came time to the singles, the strength and depth of the Americans would show up, and in fact, it did. It just went according to script.
Roger, there are great youngsters seemingly coming out of the woodwork in golf these days. What impressed you the most about 18-year-old Mason Howe, holing shots from hither and yon, winner of the U.S. Amateur and on his way to Georgia?
He's a kid. I mean, he's 18 in high school. I mean, to see the poise that they have and the way they have been taught, instructed the game, the way they have learned the decorum of the game is really impressive. Nathan Smith said it over and over, Captain Nathan Smith, excuse me. You know, they're just a terrific young bunch of kids is what they are. And I watched some stuff where, you know, the game is played, even certainly at the professional level, far more aggressively than the players of my generation. And we'll say the ninth hole. It is a very short par four surrounded by sand dunes and brush. And the green is very sloped, high back left to the front right of the green. And we're in foursome play. Now it's alternate shot, right? And these guys are trying to drive it on the green. And if you don't hit the green, there's one place you can hit it where you're going to gain advantage. And it has to be an absolutely spectacular, wonderful golf shot. You start missing, there are hundreds of places you don't want to be. But there they are. And I saw them lose a couple of holes in a row when I was on that part of the course. And I thought, gee whiz, you know what? They need to learn a little bit more about playing golf. So in the singles match yesterday, I'm out with Ethan Fang, and they get up on that tee, and the hole is in the back left, which is hard to get to with a sand wedge from the fairway from a perfect lie. And he pulls out a wood, and I go on record. I say, I don't like this. I don't like this at all. Well, don't you know he hit it about 5 feet and got a conceited eagle? How he got a ball there, I'll never know. And I saw him later at the conclusion of the matches, and I said, thanks, you made me look really stupid. And I explained to him what happened. He got a chuckle out of it. But it's amazing the power these young guys have. It's amazing. They fear nothing. I was scared to death when I was on the tour as a rookie. But these kids now, they just play with an abandon that can only be respected and admired. And you stand there and watch it and just shake your head sometimes. But it is Golf's going to be in good shape. We just had a weekend where we saw some future major champions. There's no two ways about it.
Well, these kids play a different game, but one thing we love is hearing Roger Maltbie calling golf. This is Roger Maltbie season. Great hearing you at Cypress. Have a great week in the Napa Valley, my friend.
Thanks, guys. Will do. Great talking to you.